What's good, y'all? So I'm gonna give you the breakdown of this Apple trade we took on live trading. Right. So first off, you're gonna start off doing your higher time frame analysis, right? And this was already done essentially before we took this trade, right? So you want to start on your high time frames, right? So I'm starting here on the weekly on the Apple chart, right? And when we look at it, we see, okay, we have the sweep low right here in this area, and we have the swing high up here in this area, right? So we reclaimed above the swing high here in June last year, right? And then we came back down to test this 165 key level here in October of last year, right? Come up again, make a new all-time high in this 200s region, and then we retest this 180 region, right? Move back up to try and test that previous high again, but we get a failure to go higher, and then we start moving on this downhill slide, right? So immediately off the higher time frame here on the weekly, I'm going to want to mark a couple levels, right? Number one is this 180 pivot here on the weekly, right? Nice little level here. And then next is this 176 area here. We see in most recent times, in March and April, right? We make this high here and form a failure to go higher, and then we retest it now into present day, into this blue 176.43, right? So now let's drop down and take a look at the daily time frame, right? So now when we're on the daily time frame, what do we see, right? We see we're kind of trading within this range of 200 to 165, right? Testing the highs, testing the lows. And then now as we come down starting in March and in recent times in April, we have a failure to go lower below this 167 and 165 key levels, right? So let's mark those out right now. Boom. So we got these levels right here, right? And really, this is representing the range for pretty much the months that we're trading in, right? March to April. Okay. So already I'm looking for a long setup because, right, we have a failure to go lower here on the higher time frames, right? So now let's drop down to the 4-hour chart, right? And this will be my process for finding all the trades, essentially, right? We want to see the same thing on multiple time frames, right? So here on the 4-hour, we see this 180 key level, right? Support, 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 broke down, and then try to retest it, right? So now let's go down onto the hourly chart, right? So here we are on the hourly, right? So here we are on the hourly, and we can see it nice failure to go lower, and then starting April we get this push starting April 11th into we get this push in the pre-market, and then this nice move up pretty much the whole day, right? And then we get this little pullback and failure to go lower into Friday's open here, right? Failure to get below 173.60, right? And then this is where we took our trade here on the break of this previous key level here, right? So if we go back here on the daily, a couple things I want to talk about as well, or 4 hours, sorry about that. On the 4-hour, I saw, what did I see? On the 4-hour, I saw us break out of some major trend lines, right? This being one, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches here, and we broke out of this, right? But more recently, we have this trend line here. This guy right here, right? We got our one touch, 2 touches connector, and this massive trend line breakout, right? So immediately all these signs are telling me into the open on Friday, the 11th, that we should look for a long setup, right? So what do we see on the 11th, right? We see the breakout of this trend line. We move up in the previous day, right? And we kind of formed this little retest area right here, 173.55, right? Came up, retested this 173, and then moved up, right? Now into the after hours and pre-market of the next day, Friday, we get a failure to go lower, failure to go lower, right? And then as soon as we open, we're starting to see this opening drive strength on Apple, right? So what we do is we wait for the breakout of our level and look for a pullback entry, which is exactly what we took online. So now you guys will see the live trading, and that was the breakdown and rationale of why we took that trade.
Guys, I'm getting filled. Okay, I got filled 2.13. So yeah, maintaining right now cons are 330. I'm up 58%-ish. So we'll see. Either we make a new high of day or I'll just sell here and call it. All right, you guys, candles flipping here. I'm gonna close.